All right, I am here with Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk. And Peter, we have got the Khashoggi story front and center. It is not going away. We said on many live chats and on many videos that this story will not die. Before we get your quick take, I'm a little torn on this story because if there's any country that I would love to see Trump or the U.S. go after, obviously, I think most of our viewers would, it would be Saudi Arabia. For the many, not so much for Khashoggi, but Yemen, Syria, and the crimes, they go way back in time. But on the flip side, there's a lot of truth to what Trump is saying, in that there's a realpolitik truth that this is kind of, not to, Godfather-esque, like this is business. This is business, guys. And this is how business is done, whether you like them or not. What's your take?
The important thing to take away from this is not the crimes of the Saudi royal family. Those are legend, okay? And we could do a marathon on them, okay? But what I find rank hypocrisy about is that Trump is being attacked for what every American president has done since the Second World War. It's business. It is what it is, all right? So, all of a sudden everybody grew a conscience. Really? I find this outrageous, okay? Now, Trump is saying, about Yemen, well, when the Saudis will get out once the Iranians get out. That is patently false, okay? Having this arms agreements with Saudi Arabia, that is patently false. Okay, but he did say the truth. He says we have to back Saudi Arabia because it protects Israel and the royal house of Saud. That's what U.S. policy is. It is what it is. We can disagree with it very, very strongly, but don't attack Donald Trump for saying the obvious. All right, and it seems to me that he's just parroting something that John Bolton. It's very Bolton-esque what he's been saying here. All right. So, I really would like to see the relationship with Saudi Arabia and Israel change, but it ain't going to happen, folks. Not anytime soon. So, I don't see this moralizing and preening to be relevant whatsoever, and particularly the liberal media. When Donald Rumsfeld met Saddam, and gave him international support, arms, money, who knows, chemical weapons, where was their conscience then? Do they even admit it? All right, we could go on and on about all the dictators the U.S. has supported for decades. All right, and all of a sudden you have a conscience about one of them. Hillary Clinton called Mubarak a friend of her family. Okay, so when democracy was overthrown in Egypt, well, is he a dictator? Well, I don't think he's a dictator. Of course he was. That's American policy. They support dictators around the world. So don't moralize about Donald Trump's misstatements about Saudi Arabia.
Hasn't Saudi Arabia been, I think, the biggest donating country to the Clinton Foundation?
A lot. Well, now that you speak about it, the Republicans finally, woke up. They got 6 weeks left in controlling Congress, and they're going to finally go out. Finally, wow! I've always said, a lot of the I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican, but I've always said a lot of Republicans have their heart on the right place, but they don't have a brain. Okay, this is what it's all about. 6 weeks, and now you want to start, Anyway, to finish up on this here with Saudi Arabia, of course this story is being used, but it's being used for very maniacal reasons. The Turks have a stake in all of this as well. All right, we see a lot of a sandstorm in the Middle East, and Erdogan is milking it for all it's worth. It's like, is Erdogan a good guy in all of this? Of course he's not. Okay, certainly the Saudis aren't, and the Washington Post isn't either. So, it's a house of hypocrisy, okay? And everyone's trying to score points. And Khashoggi was no saint. He was, his family and connections, hip deep in a lot of the corruption and blood. So, don't make him into some kind of martyr, okay? All of this false preening, this is so disgusting, all right? So don't go after Trump for saying what's on his mind. Don't go after Trump for reflecting what the swamp is all about. All right, that's the tragedy here, that you don't change. And the same thing, Republican, Democrat, over and over and over again. The deep state rules.
All of a sudden, it's all about morality and about the values of the U.S. now. That you can't. How dare Trump support a regime that killed a journalist when that same regime is bombing the hell out of Yemen, and no one has said anything for years.
What about the American military killing a Reuters journalist? Okay, the advent of the WikiLeaks and the Afghanistan story. Okay, so killing journalists? No, it's got to be something else. What a demoralizing state that we're in right now. All right. None of these characters are good characters. They're all bad actors, and they're all trying to get one-upsmanship here. And, of course, the domestic angle of it in the United States is to go after Trump for anything and everything, okay? It's just, there you go, they show the lack of maturity and the lack of professionalism of the professional media.
It's incredible, to wrap it up, Peter. It's incredible how, sometimes I think how honest, how transparent Trump is. When he says these things, I mean, he was to say, we don't want oil to go down. We don't want,
I'm not propping up Donald Trump on this, because I've already said in this video of the things that I disagree with that he said, because it's patently not true. But you have to, as an observation, as a fair observation, he's more transparent than Obama or the rest of them, because all they did was read a script. I mean, Donald Trump, he's on a fly every time he opens his mouth, So, I mean, I don't fault him for that. I fault him for many, many different reasons, and for the entire deep state in American foreign policy. But yeah, he has an uncanny ability to call balls and strikes. It's amazing.
Real quick, what do you make of the statement he wrote? Okay, because he went to the press and he told them, we don't want prices of oil to go down. This is about business. But then he also wrote that statement that statement was published about the Khashoggi affair, and he took a swipe at Iran, and the written statement was a little odd, I think.
Yeah, but see, it seems to me that that's the talking points that someone like Bolton, here you have what's the nominal narrative? You have a journalist, a Saudi journalist, dissident. Well, he's a lot more than that. Is killed by the crown prince. Okay, so what Trump utters about it, he waffles, and then he points a finger at Iran. Well, what does Iran have to do with this story? It's injected into the story, okay, as if it justifies it. And of course, it does justify. That's John Bolton. That's what it's all about. And we could do another video about this, about oil prices. Yeah, you don't want oil price. You want oil prices to go down. Okay, while you're fiddling with the oil markets of the world, particularly with Iran, okay, again, the United States puts itself at the mercy and prey of the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. That's not a good place to be, folks. It's not a good place to be. But that's another. It's
always been like that, though. Like you said, it's always been like that, though.
Yeah, always. So Trump is not an anomaly, okay? He's actually a continuation of long-held policies. He just is, quote unquote, a little more awkward when he talks about it.
Yeah, that's the really good way of putting it, and they find any reason to go after him because he is a little bit awkward as to how he expresses these views. Absolutely. Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk, thank you for your quick take. Guys, buy a t-shirt. Go to our description box. You will find a link to our PayPal and Patreon. It really helps us out. Donate to the Duran. Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk, thank you for your quick take.